This is one of those articles that I love covering. Might not be exceptionally sexy in terms of the content, but I think it's exceptionally useful for those that care and for those who want to have information and data when it comes to the mining game. You guys know I love the mining game. So this is important. It's important to me. I think it's important to know. I mean, you can't be a noob. You can't be ignorant. You can't be ignorant, guys, especially if you're a miner. You got to know these things. So let's cover it. Which countries mine the most BTC? You want to know? I think I know. Let's get to it. According to IP addresses from so-called hashers that use certain Bitcoin mining pools in 2021, the majority of Bitcoin mining occurred in the United States. Maybe it had to do something with China, chickadee China. This is most likely related to global energy prices. Germany's electric costs were over tenfold those of, say, China, the country that was for a long time the world's largest crypto miner until late 2021. Bitcoin requires energy for hashing, or the computing power required to build the blockchain on a personal computer. To put simply, the more hashing that occurs, the more Bitcoin is mined. These diagrams and the stuff that we're going to be talking about today, where it shows us where the majority of hashing and thus Bitcoin mining actually occurs. Take note that mining statistics differ from those that are from Bitcoin trading. Africa and Latin America express a greater interest in purchasing and selling BTC than some developed economies. But how much Bitcoin is actually mined each day in each country? Due to the cryptocurrency's design emphasis on privacy, there's no way to actually determine how many new coins are created from which location, which is why the figures here refer to PC processing power rather than Bitcoin. Now, there's a correlation, a loose correlation there, right? Hashing power and mined. And so we can create some sort of understanding around the figures. So there are figures for Bitcoin's current and maximum supply, but they also exclude the location of the currency's mining. The closest figure would be to look at the hash rate from so-called mining pools, places where miners can dig for Bitcoin, and how much they hashed in the last 24 hours. In 2021, the world's top Bitcoin mining pools all came from China, with 5 pools being responsible for over half of the cryptocurrency's total hash. So that was until China closed down shop, right? So some of you guys might be wondering, and I think it's important to get into here, can we actually be profitable when it comes to mining Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin mining could lead to profits for some, but there are several things to consider. Mainly, the maximum supply of Bitcoin is getting closer, so that the algorithm requires more and more processing power. This is reflected in the steady growth of BTC mining difficulty, a metric that looks at how much effort miners are putting in to getting a Bitcoin. Indeed, mining firms bought so much hardware capable of mining that prices of these mining rigs grew by roughly 10% each week in 2021, as supplies worldwide had sold out. 2021 has been a year of growth for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. This global cryptocurrency boom has prompted hundreds of mining companies to seize the opportunity to establish farms in countries with more favorable operating conditions. Cryptocurrencies in general are not just enticing investments for investors and traders alone. There's also an entire industry that attracts miners of all sizes. And you guys know I've been in that game for a long time. I'm a miner. So all of these people that are eager to profit from the fact that the price of Bitcoin has more than doubled in the last year have gotten into the mining game. While China was the epicenter of global Bitcoin mining between 2019 and the first quarter of 2021, until May, the Asian behemoth tolerated Bitcoin mining, which has grown to previously unimaginable levels in recent years. The Red Dragon eventually absorbed more than 75% of all Bitcoin mining activity worldwide. However, this came to an end when China's communist government decided to establish its own CBDC, or central bank currency. Since then, Bitcoin mining has shifted to other parts of the world with more lenient regulations and an abundance of cheap energy. So, finally, we're going to get there. Let's talk about it. Who's got it? Countries with the highest Bitcoin hash rates. And that's a train, my friends. Let's get into it. Although it is not easy to determine where Bitcoin is most exploited or how many cryptocurrencies... What in the shit? I almost feel like not editing that out so that for the rest of history, everyone who watches this video can be like, that guy takes his job way too seriously. Although it is not easy to determine where Bitcoin is most exploited or how many cryptocurrencies are created because it is a semi-private activity, the only way to know where there is more activity related to the mining of the largest cryptocurrency in the world is through the hash rate. This metric enables the total capacity of the combined network used to mine and process blockchain transactions to be determined. By examining the hash rate, it is possible to determine which countries have the most ASIC processing power and thus the most mining companies. So the following is a list of the top 8 nations that mined the most Bitcoin in 2021, excluding China, even though we're going to talk about them in the very beginning, because it's important to know what happened. The Cambridge Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index is used to compile the list. But it's also important to note that the University of Cambridge clarifies, however, that the information provided is based entirely on sample data of geolocated BTC mining facilities collected in collaboration with various mining pools. So let's jump right in. The first one is China, well, until later in the year. But since 2019, this country has maintained the global mining leadership, accounting for 75.53% of all global activity, according to Statista data. It maintained these levels of exploitation until October of 2020. From then on, mining began to decline gradually until it reached 50% in April of 2021, when it was surpassed by the United States. Prior to China's massive crackdown in May, the global hash rate reached approximately 180 million terahashes per second, and China was the largest source of hash power. 2/3 of the world's bitcoins were extracted into that country, using approximately 86 terawatt hours of electricity. Daggum, that's a lot. While Bitcoin mining activity in China continued to fall significantly from the end of 2020 to the beginning of 2021 due to the persecution of mining and all of cryptocurrency-related operations, activity has increased in the United States. Chinese miners chose to relocate to areas and countries where governments and regulations provided greater assurances for the development of this activity. Additionally, electricity rates in these countries are more profitable for Bitcoin mining. And that brings us to opportunities around subversive mining. However, dozens of miners have been trapped in China and have since disappeared underground. Those with greater financial resources and foreign property were able to evade the authorities' ruthless persecution that began in June 2021. Those who remained dismantled their farms and operate in small units scattered throughout the country to remain relatively undetected, particularly in regions with significant infrastructure for electricity generation, such as the Sichuan Electric Dam in the country's south. At the moment, there is no precise information about Bitcoin mining in the country. However, it is believed that covert mining occurs via virtual private networks. In this method, government rules are circumvented, giving the impression that the computers are located in another country. So, what happened to Bitcoin mining in 2021? Well, it essentially went kaput. However, there's a lot of subversive mining going on, and from what I've heard from little birds, there are actually some pretty significant operations going on. Now, I don't know how large. I don't know anything, actually. Chickadee China, Xi Jinping, mea culpa. I'm sorry. I just heard these things. But, yeah. Right now, though, obviously, it's going to be the United States. Number one, baby. The recovery of mining activity in the United States was critical to Bitcoin's recovery following the Chinese mining chase. Although the American miners in the Asian country have been preparing for what appeared to be an impending disaster. Thus, while the price of Bitcoin remained low, they were adjusting the mining equipment housing conditions. They invested heavily for years to build massive infrastructures for the American mining firm. According to the data from the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, the U.S. absorbed the majority of the Chinese miners who fled. It was the world's first economy and quickly developed into a global Bitcoin mining haven. I noticed this too, because obviously I got even bigger into mining as the exodus began, guys. Big deal. The academic institutions studied details the global evolution of the network's hash rate, emphasizing the advancement of the United States of America, Russia, Malaysia, Kazakhstan, and other countries, as well as the fall of China, which began in May of this year. Don't worry about that. That's just propaganda. By April of 2021, the United States had already surpassed the global hash rate of 16.85%, according to Statista data. However, it increased to 35.4% in just 4 months, and has continued to rise. Texas, one of the best states on the planet, hello all you Texans out there, stands out among the best states with the highest levels of Bitcoin exploitation. The southern state is rumored to be on the verge of becoming the global capital of Bitcoin. Oh man, Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, baby. Let's go. The state has an excellent infrastructure and an adequate supply of electricity, and it is there that the interests of dozens of cryptocurrency investors and aspirational young oil executives collide. So number 3, you got it. It's Kazakhstan. You didn't know. I guess you know now. The former Soviet Republic is ranked second in the world currently in Bitcoin mining, behind the US. Oh, that's right. We didn't include China. Kazakhstan has an 18.1% hash rate in August 2021, according to the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance. The location of Kazakhstan, a country of 18.75 million people located in Central Asia that borders China and Russia, along with the facilities offered by the government, caused Chinese miners to move their mining farmers en masse to this location. However, the country of Kazakhstan is currently experiencing an energy crisis as a result of heavy mining activity. Due to a lack of electricity, the population is constantly subjected to blackouts. It's kind of like my little city that I live in here, Daggum. National emergency demand increased 8% this year, exceeding the national average of 1 or just 2%. Several cryptocurrency mining companies in southern Kazakhstan have been forced to shut down or relocate their operations. As a result, many miners no longer regard this country as a viable location for Bitcoin mining, and the national electric power grid's infrastructure is also relatively insufficient. Transferring energy from the most energy-dense regions in the north to the most energy-dense regions in the south is not simple. Since 2019, the government has invested millions of dollars to support BTC mining, which is primarily based in coal combustion. However, this was insufficient. Now, lawmakers are calling for stricter mining regulations to avert the collapse of the country's electricity system. Oof. Kazakhstan, going down, guys. That Bitcoin how to take down a country, guys. Mine Bitcoin. However, the energy crisis has compelled authorities to consider alternative means of compensating for all the electricity shortfall. One of them is the importation of Russian electrical energy. Now that we have Russia and Ukraine, is Russia going to still be all about that busy beat? Well, right now, the Russia Federation was another country that benefited from China's anti-Bitcoin mining campaign. Russia's proximity to China and abundant and inexpensive energy resources, oil, coal, and hydroelectric power, facilitated the relocation and expansion of mining operations this year. According to the CCAF, the country ranks third globally in Bitcoin mining with 11.23%. Following China's prohibition of this activity, the city with the highest concentration of Bitcoin farms is Irkutsk in Siberia. Cool. I bet the electricity and the heating is cheap. The region is abundant in natural resources and has enormous hydroelectric potential, which could be used to power the computers to mine Bitcoin. Indeed, only 20% of installed power generation capacity is currently being used. Oh man, only 20%? They got a long way to go. Come on, Russia. Time to get on it. Come on, Putin. Come on. Get that busy beat. As a result, Russia is an ideal location for Bitcoin mining operations. Additionally, cold weather aids in the conservation of energy resources used to cool interconnected equipment that operates 24 hours a day. Bitcoin mining has enormous growth potential in Russia. The availability of inexpensive energy, combined with Russia's government's willingness to host large mining operations, is a plus for many miners looking for a suitable location. On the other hand, Russia's prohibition of BTC as legal tender has not stymied the growth of mining activity. The government of Vladimir Putin is in the process of issuing a digital ruble in this vast country that spans 17.13 million square kilometers. Amazing. What a massive amount of land. So let's come up to the next one. So we got Russia, we got Kazakhstan, we got Canada. According to data available this July of last year, this is where 9.55% of the entire global Bitcoin hash rate is concentrated. As a result, Canada will rank 4th in terms of Bitcoin mining in 2021. Both Canadian and Chinese mining companies have sheds and equipment in the country. Between April 2019 and April of this year, Canada's share of the hash rate increased from 8% to 3%. or sorry, 0.8% to 3%, while China's share decreased. Quebec is the province where Bitcoin is most widely used in Canada, owing to its abundant energy resources and a favorable climate. Canadian miners have admitted to receiving joint venture offers from Chinese firms in recent months. And actually, I've heard that has increased a lot in lots of parts. I mean, I get accosted too. Or not accosted. I get solicited is the better word to use. Cryptocurrency entrepreneurs in Canada primarily mine Bitcoins using hydroelectric power. This has enabled them to avoid criticism for excessive emissions and the electricity consumption, while also doubling their profits. So who comes after China? Who comes after Canada? Well, it's Iran. Did you know that? I think I knew that, but maybe I just made that up. The Iranian Bitcoin mining business accounts for between 4.5% and 7% of the global total Bitcoin hash rate. Since 2017, as the country's mining sector has risen substantially, the Ayatollah administration is increasing oversight of mining activity. Despite the fact that the Iranian regime tolerates this activity because it generates tax revenue, worries about rising energy uses have also arisen. The authorities suspect that unlawful mining has evolved, with operators rigorously evading payment of applicable taxes and charges. In the country, legally operating Bitcoin mining companies are assisting the government in developing a regulatory framework. This way, they hope to avoid illegal mining. According to the Iran Mining Association's data, approximately 2/3 of Bitcoin mining in Iran is illegal. Ooh, 66% of mining in Iran is illegal? Daggone. Time to grow up. Well, I was going to say something else, but I'll just leave it alone. So who comes after Iran? Well, it's Malaysia. Malaysia, mining activity has also increased significantly in this southern Asian country in recent months. According to data from the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, Malaysia has been expanding its mining network since April of 2021. By July of this year, the country had a 4.5% monthly global Bitcoin hash rate, and some of the miners who abandoned their activities in China took sanctuary in Malaysia, which aided in the spread of the activity. Since then, the country's annual energy consumption has climbed relentlessly. Right now, it's over 147 terawatt hours. However, illegal mining has increased, compelling the government to make drastic measures. Malaysia's government is persecuting thousands of unlicensed miners, and the government has seized thousands of pieces of mining equipment from clandestine farms that can now sell them for scrap. The remainder of the seized equipment and encryption systems were auctioned off. Not only do illegal miners not pay taxes to the government, but also steal electricity to operate their equipment. But at the same time, can you hate on them though? Like these are hustlers, baby. They're getting that Bitcoin miners in there, plugging it into the backbone and getting free. Come on, you can't hate on that. That's hustle. I know it's not right, but I just have this image in my mind, guys. I have this image in my mind of these guys in Malaysia. Like, you know, they don't have shirts on. Because that's how, you know, all the Hollywood movies portray people out there. Nobody has shirts on. They just ran around in warehouses, putting Bitcoin miners together. Like, with pools of water underneath them as they're plugging in electricity together. I mean, I can't hate on it, man. It's the hustle life, baby. To prevent this, police conduct ongoing raids in areas where they suspect mining equipment is being generally operated illegally. After Malaysia, we have Germany. The largest economy in Europe is also one of the fastest growing in terms of Bitcoin mining. Germany's hash rate has also increased significantly this year. According to CCAF data, the country consumes 4.4% of the network's total power, although it is unknown with certainty whether the capacity of Germany's operational mining equipment has increased. According to the report from the University of Cambridge, the recent increases in the country's hash rate could be a result of miners utilizing VPNs or proxy servers. Oof. In Germany, Bitcoin mining must also pay income tax. Not like this, really? On the other hand, if users buy any cryptocurrency and keep them stored for a year, they do not pay any tax, nor if the earnings per sale are less than £600 per year. Okay. I remember that. So who comes next? Well, it's Ireland. The case of Ireland is similar to that of Germany. The increased hash rate is believed to be the result of use of VPN filters to evade the actual location of the mining equipment's IP addresses. A hash rate of 4.6% is indicated on the Bitcoin Cambridge Electricity Consumption Index map. However, to attract foreign investment, the Irish government has been supporting blockchain-related activities since 2018. And several Chinese mining companies have relocated to Ireland, which has more palatable state regulations. Not too bad. The countries that have mined the most Bitcoins in 2021 are not necessarily the ones where the cryptocurrencies have been most positively received and adopted by their governments. So, there you go, my friends. We got the top miners. We got used to be China. We got Malaysia. We got Germany. We got U.S. We got Russia. We got Canada. And finally, here's the summary. The majority of Bitcoin mining occurs in the United States. Africa and Latin America expressed a greater interest in purchasing and selling BTC than developed economies, and Germany's electric costs were over tenfold of those, say, China, the world's largest crypto miner in 2021. China was the epicenter of global Bitcoin mining between 2019 and 2021, but since then, mining has shifted to other parts of the world with more lenient regulations. The only way to know where there is more activity related to the mining of Bitcoin is through the hash rate. Prior to China's crackdown in May, the global hash rate exceeded approximately 180 million terahashes per second. 2/3 of the world's Bitcoins were extracted in China last year, using approximately 86 terawatt hours of electricity. And the United States was surpassed by China as the nation that mined the most Bitcoin in 2021, but now, in 2022, US is on top. Not only are we the purveyors of war, we're also the purveyors of Bitcoin. Thanks for joining us, my friends. Smash the like button. Have a great day. Share this, tweet it, let people know, leave a comment if you've lasted this long. It's a long video, it's 20 minutes, but I think it's important. Now that you've listened, you now know where all the Bitcoin mining is happening. And if you live in America, maybe you should get in that game. Like me. Seriously.